Yeah.
I just feel like I need to say that like again, because I did the video and I'm like, I am not only not rooting for that to happen, I am rooting in the opposite direction. Like I hope everything that I heard is wrong. I hope that he gets exonerated. I hope that he gets to go back to coaching and nothing off limits. So everybody, this is Danny Molina. He is a well-known MMA coach, Anthony Smith's coach. Has a lot of fighters, and he's on today. We're going to talk to him about a lot of stuff. Talk about the James Krause situation, and then some other interesting topics having to do with Ariel and Patty Pimlet, son. Not that I don't know if you're paying attention to that or not. Did you see that?
I saw Ariel talk about that situation yesterday about bullying and Patty putting something out about anti-bullying, and I just saw it was a lot of back and forth. That's all I saw. Yeah.
The honestly, the gist of it is actually pretty simple. Like Patty and his manager have basically stated that people who host fighters should be paying part of the money generated by their channels to the fighters. And so, I mean, I don't know. I just did a video about this where I'm like, I just don't think these guys understand how much money gets generated by these. You know what I mean? It's like, if they come on and a video does 150,000 views, you're talking like, I mean, Jesus, I don't know. Like I was saying on this. So like I did a Balenciaga video that has 270,000 views. And if you exclude, I mean, you're talking about a couple $1,000s basically. Like,
right.
You know, you're like, all right, you want me to cut you a check for like $500 or what? I don't, it's,
right, yeah.
You know what I mean? But I thought Ariel handled it pretty well. But yeah, the more important thing is this James Krause thing, obviously. And I'm sure as a coach, you have a lot of thoughts on that thing that's going on now. I feel like there's this like, well, I know there's a huge disconnect between kind of what's going on in the public and what's going on, you know, behind the scenes on this Krause thing. And let me just actually use this moment to like, to just put this out there. So like, I actually don't watch very much MMA media, right? Like I really don't. I watch, like, I'm just, you know, I'm looking for video topics and that's basically it. This thing with Krause, like exactly what happened was I heard rumblings about it. I heard that he had gotten, that the UFC had said any fighters that fight with Krause can't fight in the UFC. And so what I did is I started calling people, you know, like I didn't look in the media. I just started calling people. And so like, I mean, what is apparently completely common knowledge among kind of, you know, the inside
community.
Combat sports was not public. And I didn't know that. So like, I just took what everybody told me and I did a video about it. And I started getting just bombarded with people like, dude, this shit's not true. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure it's fucking true. And then I went and looked around. I'm like, oh shit, none of this shit was public, dude. Like, like none of this stuff was public. So anyway, so I mean, like,
I don't know if what they intended. I don't know if what they had sent out to everybody, you know, the email we got about gambling and then the Krause thing, those emails that Hunter sends out. I'm not sure if it's something that is intended to stay public, private. It doesn't really say anything like keep this between us, but it's going to get out. You know, I mean, people were posting the specific email that was sent out right away. So whether it is or not, like it's true, you know, you can't gamble. People in your household can't gamble, you know, coaches, trainers, you know, athletes, managers, whoever. I think it's better that I'm not a big gambler guy, man. Like I get mad if I go to Vegas and lose $5 on a roulette table. So
I lost 500 on Kevin Holland the other night. What a fucking performance by Wonder Boy though. Dude.
Yeah, that was great. That was good to see. So, it's unfortunate, man. You know, James is a fantastic coach. He runs a really successful program. I've coached against Krause. I've coached alongside, you know, he was part of a training camp with us a few years back. And, I used to bring my athletes up to Kansas City all the time to KCFA, which is now FAC, to compete, and known him a long time. And I know
seems like a really good dude, man.
Yeah, it's unfortunate, man. And I don't know if it's one of those things that, you know, greed is just evil and it just, you know, got the best of him. And he just didn't watch his P's and Q's at the end there with, I know he's, you know, he was kind of getting blasted, you know, for going on Ariel's show, talking about, you know, making money gambling on fights. And then Ariel kind of served him up like, you bet on your own fighters? And he was like, yeah. And it's like, you know, not sure if that was the smartest move on his end. And then the whole gambling discord and there's an old expression, man, where there's smoke, there's fire. And I think that's the classic case here, where there's just so much of this smoke around that situation. Obviously the Derek Minner fight and all these other things. And it's like, you know, he just got caught up, and we're just kind of waiting to see now with, I guess, you know, there's a big investigation going on, and I guess they inform the fighters that are under him, you know, if you want to stay in the UFC, you can't, you can't be affiliated with him. And so I guess until the dust clears and everything kind of settles, we're not going to really get to know the outcome, but it's not looking good.
Yeah. I mean, and I'll just say this, because a lot of people watch that video. Like, I think one of the things that people got bent at, they're like, you said that he got raided by the feds. And I'm like, all right, well, I maybe, like, okay, the feds took his devices. Like, yeah. So if saying he got raided by the feds is not correct versus the feds knocked on his door and took his devices. The difference? Exactly.
There is no difference. Yeah.
Exactly the same thing. Yeah. So like, but I mean, listen, like I had absolutely no intention of blowing Krause up. That really wasn't my intention at all. Like I said in my video yesterday, like, I hope he comes out of this thing totally clean. I had no ill intentions whatsoever with that video. And in all honesty, like I said, I didn't realize that some of the stuff I put out there wasn't public. It was just like, it was common knowledge with so many insiders that, like, I just thought everybody knew, you know.
You could find that stuff on Twitter if you really went down the rabbit hole with that, you know.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
it's just, you know, I think and it sucks because, you know, you get on Twitter and you try not to read all the noise and all the white noise and all the craziness, but it's like, at the end of the day, the man's got a wife, he's got kids, he's got
athletes. He does. He has kids.
Yeah, and he's got athletes that truly care about him. He's a great father. He's a great coach. And of course, people are going to stick by his side through it all. And I think, you know, fans sometimes forget about that. We're just regular people too.
For sure.
Like, you know, we make mistakes. I'm not perfect. I have my mistakes that I make. And it's like, you know, give the guy, not saying, you know, give him a break and give him a pass for what he did. Because I believe in, if you make a mistake, you gotta pay the consequences.
Yeah. You're
free to do whatever you want, but you can't bitch and complain about the consequences when you know, they come raining down on you. I think people forget, man, like, the guy's got a family, and if, you know, if he ends up going to prison for this, that means there's, you know, his kids are going to be without a father. They're gonna have to see their father through glass for however long, and that's not cool, man. That's not cool at all.
And and honestly, like, it just, I mean, it just sucks for him, dude. Like, like, it's one of those things where, like, I don't know, like, when you're winning, like, when you're winning, and I don't mean like just when you're winning at something for so long, even if you kind of know, like, you know, what I'm doing is a little bit borderline. If you win and people know, and then it gets bigger and people know, and you got a huge, like, multi-thousand person Discord and people know, but no one's saying anything and you're winning.
You're making a lot of
betting
noise
on shit and you're winning. And then hypothetically, I don't know this to be the case, but let's say hypothetically, your fighter comes to you, like, you know, a day before the fight, and he's got a leg injury or whatnot. And it's like, well, you could pull out, but then, like, I did a video where I didn't put it up. I just changed my mind about putting it up, but it was like I said, like, I personally, I have a criminal mind, like, and I mean that in that, like, and I don't mean that, like, as a good or bad thing. I just mean, like, for 100% sure, my mind in that situation would have been like, I think the key to, if you're like a relatively good person with a criminal mind, what that means is, like, I could have convinced myself that having Derek go in there and lose that fight was a good thing. Like, I would have been like, look, he's going to get paid. He needs the money. Like, he's getting paid 12 and 12. He needs the money. There's really not any, you know, like, there's no loser here. You know, like, there's no, like, the only person that's getting fucked is the sports book, and fuck them. And, like, it just would have been, you know, like, I
get what you're saying.
You know what I mean?
But I wish people would understand, like, because I think the term fixed fights and like, you see it all the time in the NFL. Oh, the NFL's rigged, or fighting's rigged, or this and that. Like, people, like, fans say that.
Yeah.
Like, if you're an athlete at a high level or coach at a high level, like, sometimes it's a little silly, because it's like, there is not a world where I live in where someone can approach, an Anthony or Jordan Heiderman or any of my athletes that I coach and convince them like, hey man, let's throw this fight. And they're going to be like, what?
Exactly.
Like they're competitors.
Yeah.
They don't sell their soul to the devil.
Yeah.
Like there's not a world where that happens.
Even bridging that conversation. That's when everybody was talking about the Jake Paul and Anderson Silva, I'm like, who would have gone to Anderson Silva and asked him to take that dive?
If you knew Anderson Silva from a personal standpoint, and you know how much he loves to compete and wants to win, like it's so easy to throw out the term, fixed fight and rigged and this and that. And it's just like when people say that, I'm like, you obviously have never done anything at a high level where it keeps you up at night and you're up early at the crack of dawn because that hunger to win. And I feel sad for those people because it's like you've never had a something you're so passionate about that you're not afraid to try your absolute best in everything you do to win at whatever it is.
The only person that has a big background like that entertained the Anderson Silva thing was John Fitch. Because John Fitch is he's top of the food chain, but he's like and I love John Fitch for the record.
Yeah.
And the only reason I know this is because he's my boy. But he's got a mind for conspiracies. But like
I get not everything has to be a conspiracy. Like I get it. Sometimes things look fishy, and like I said, where there's smoke, there's fire. But not everything has to be. And it's like sometimes you just gotta like the Jake Paul and Anderson Silva thing. People were so upset. They would rather say the fight's rigged than finally admit, shit, Jake's getting kind of good.
Yes.
Like,
exactly.
It's like, can't you just be happy that you may not like him, his personality, just like a lot of people don't like Floyd Mayweather, but the guy he's good.
He just beat Anderson Silva.
Yeah, he just beat it. And I know it's an older Anderson, and I know it's not a prime Anderson, and it's not Anderson at 10 years ago, but it's like, this kid's passing every test he's been given. It's like, I'm a huge Eagles fan. They're 11-1 right now, right? When they were like 7-0, 8-0, I saw these things online, and it was like the reasons why the Eagles are 8-0, and it gave a list of everyone they played, and there was an excuse for every game. And it's like, can you imagine the scrutiny if we would have lost those games? You're blaming us for when you're giving a team a hard time for winning.
Ridiculous.
Like it just does. It makes zero sense to me. But that's the world we live in. Like people like the idea of having something to bitch about rather than the actual topic itself. Yeah, they just want something to bitch about on social media rather than being really passionate about it. Because if social media didn't exist, if Twitter, Instagram, Facebook didn't exist, they wouldn't give a shit less about
exactly.
It.
And it also like I think the way that you interpret it depends on your outlook on things in general. So as an example, when I moved to Austin, I had never done jits. All my martial arts were all stand up, and then it's like, okay, well now Austin is the jiu-jitsu capital of the world. And so I'm like, all right, well, I can either, I can be Jesse on Fire with the YouTube channel that doesn't do jits or I could suck it up and just go put a fucking white belt on and then, and get there. And now it's literally all because in whatever 6 years, I'll be a black belt from here, cause I'm like, I just train every single day and I'll get good. So I look at Jake Paul and I completely align with his journey. Cause he's like, oh, I want to be a boxer. And he just goes and fucking does the work. It just means he did the work. Like he did the work.
That's all it is. Yeah. That's all it is.
The work.
And it's, it's easier for certain people because he's got the freedom, financially to pay for great training, to train multiple times a day. Mm-hmm. And it's like, people that have that kind of, support system around that foundation around them, they're eventually going to get good. If you have a little bit of athleticism and you got the money to be able to train with great instructors 2 or 3 times a day, 6 times a week, you're going to start getting good.
Yeah.
So, you've seen it, you're a product of it. Like you said, putting videos out every day. Like not negotiating with yourself. Oh, I'm going to skip a couple days. No, like your discipline has to be, your discipline has to overrun your motivation. Because I'm sure there were days where you're like, shit, I don't really want to put a video out today.
Plenty of times.
Discipline, though. You got to do it. You just got to do it.
Yep.
You can't negotiate with yourself.
Yep.
So
It's a non-negotiable position. And that's how I approached it. Like my school is Victor Hugo's my professor, and Shanji and
who's a stud, by the way. Stud. Yeah.
Total stud.
Yeah. Yep.
He's
I'm not even a jiu-jitsu guy, but after going to Austin and seeing Anthony roll with the B team guys, our instructor here, Scott, was at ADCC. We had a guy from Omaha compete in the heavyweight division. And I'm like finding myself throughout the day, like finding streams, trying to watch it, and texting Scott, like, Scott, man, let me know what's going on. And it was great. It was insane. Like this year was a blast to watch.
Yeah,
all those big names and just seeing like how some of these guys make it look easy, and it was fantastic.
Victor, that's his nickname is Big Man Flow, because he's just flowing. He's back-to-back open weight world champion in the gi. And then he's the only one that didn't get submitted by Gordon at ADCC.
Yeah, because I remember I texted you and I was like, man, is that's your guy? Like he's hanging in there, Yep.
Every single day. And and it's like, and anybody that's like, had a lot of experience, they were telling me from the beginning, they're like, dude, if you train 6 days a week with Victor, and then Steve Hargett, the other professor, he's in Masters 2 division. Yeah. He's number 1 in the world by a mile in no-gi. He won ADCC in his division too. Yeah. But you train with these guys and you go every day and you go in humble and you're just like, I'm here to learn. And dude, I'm getting there. And that's another thing that just makes me sad about the James Krause thing, is because when I watched I'd never spoken to him before. Right. But when I watched his interviews, his interview with Ariel, I could tell that he's a long view guy, where it's like, and he's got he had a really, what's the word? He retired, and he said the reason he retired is because he wanted to go out on a win. He had criteria that kind of fall in line with exactly what we're talking about, where that was his goal. He was on it, and he just was like, this is what I'm doing. And it just makes me sad, dude. Cause he's going to lose everything from this, And he wears a lot of hats, he's a father, husband, coach, essentially, a manager, and I know he's involved he was involved with the fight promotion. And it's just sad because, it's one of just those classic, sports stories that you get a guy that's, at the top and then just loses it all. Yeah. Look at Mike Tyson at one point in time of his career. He was 19, 20 years old when hundreds of $1 million in his bank account, meeting kings from other countries, and heavyweight champ of the world, to being incarcerated, broke. Don King took all his money. It's one of those classic stories. And it's just unfortunate, man. It just makes me sad. It makes me sad because I've known Krause a long time. Like I said, I love going up to Kansas City and competing against those guys, because I don't care about, I do care about, the fights here in Omaha, but I don't care about being the best in Omaha. I want to go fight my athletes fighting the best in the Midwest, the best in the country, the best in the world. So bringing my amateurs up to Kansas City was great, because I know those amateurs, they're training with the best people. They're training with Krause. They're training with Grant Dawson. They're training with Julian Marquez. They got some killers they're training with. So Molina's up there too, right? And
exactly.
Moreno.
So, So it's when I would bring my fighters up there, it challenges us. It's a different mindset, because then if we win fights over there, we should be winning fights anywhere. Against guys from that gym or that area. So. It's going to be interesting to see how it kind of all unravels, and what some of these fighters do, whether they, stay or they go, and just kind of how it all plays out. Cause I think once some of these commissions came out and said that they're going to ban gambling in their areas, I think that's when the UFC was like, all right, this is serious.
And Ontario and Canada,
right?
Ontario to Canada is Nevada to the United States.
Right.
Which is when I saw that story come out, obviously on the heels of this,
right?
It was like, oh man, they're gonna fucking bury him, dude.
Yeah.
Because and the thing is, I mean, he does like, this is what he does. This is what he loves. He was a fighter, and now he gets a lot of, personal, like, not gratification is the wrong word, but he's passionate about coaching.
Yeah.
Right? And like
gets it taken away.
This is not gonna, it's not gonna come back. You know what I mean? Like, it's like,
no,
unless he only no, he wouldn't even, like, not even for like ONE FC. It's like, this is that scarlet letter you can't wash off. And
I don't think people realize, like, oh, he can't coach in the UFC. He's probably not, if this kind of blows over, he gets reinstated and he's exonerated of all charges. There's going to still be promotions that are going to be like, well, you're able to gamble in these promotions. We don't want to be tied to you. And the UFC is not the only promotion that you can bet on.
Yeah.
Bellator,
I mean, hopefully that happens though. I mean, gets exonerated.
So, right. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, because I don't wish harm on anybody. I do believe that if you mess up, you got to pay your time.
Yeah.
You gotta serve your time. What a just a wild story. And what's funny is, like, my dad's not he's more of a boxing fan. I've been trying to get him more into MMA. Now my dad's all bought in on bare knuckle because he's a psychopath. But I've been, trying to get him more involved in MMA. And he came to visit me earlier in the year, and I was like, here, come watch some fights with me. And I had him watch Gaethje and Chandler. And he was fucking hooked. He was hooked.
Yeah.
He's texting me his home. He's like, hey, send me a link to that fight we watched last week.
Yeah, dude. That fight was that.
Yeah.
And he watches my channel, right?
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And, he freaking he likes to gamble. He's a DraftKings and FanDuel guy.
Yep.
He's messaging me like, hey man, did you hear about this? Like, because this was not just an MMA thing. This was a sports worldwide type, headline. So I was like, actually, I did hear about this. Actually, I know that guy pretty well, like, I've cornered with him. I've cornered against him. Like, he's been in my gym. I've been in his gym. So yeah, it's wild. It's wild.
Dude, I hope that, like, cause like, when you first get the bug, like when you first, I mean, I don't really remember this because I caught the bug and was hooked for the last 21 years.
Yeah.
But like, better play when someone else gets the bug, what I try to do is just, like, I don't need to show them the best fights. I need to show them great fights with specific stars in a single weight class. Just get them to know one group. And that's like the seed. Because then they're like, oh, that guy's fighting. And they know the backstory. They know who all of them are. And then they'll end up watching, and then they start to learn all the guys. So that's the key, dude, is like knowing who the fighters are.
Yeah.
So like,
for sure.
Yeah.
Because I showed my dad the Gaethje and Chandler fight. And then Gaethje ended up fighting Oliveira next. And I remember messaging my dad, and my dad's like, hey, Gaethje fights tonight, right? And I'm like, who am I talking to? Like,
Yeah.
And then Chandler fought Dustin recently. The same thing. He's like, I see Chandler's fighting again. And it's just, it's funny. Yeah. They get the bug and they're all.
He wasn't disappointed watching that fight either.
No, not at all. Not at all, man.
Dude, Chandler is the fucking man, dude. Like,
it's funny because my dad sent me the video of Chandler with the ice pack on his face.
Yeah. That was funny.
This is the coolest thing in the world. And then you get like Chandler's backstory, and you listen to him speak, and he speaks so well. And, he's adopted kids that aren't his. And all of a sudden you're like, it's a feel good story. Like, man, I'm rooting for this guy. Yeah. Like, 100%. And then he goes out and he's a savage, and you're like, man, like, this is my guy.
Yeah.
So
of all the people that are like, that made like a really, I don't know, like heavy proclamation about what they were there to do. Like, he has completely delivered. Like, he's like, every single fight, he just goes out there, and it's like I've honestly never seen anyone, because like, he is strategically going out and throwing heat like that on. It's not like it's not like he got lost in the moment. Like, he went out and he intentionally planned to go that hard on Dustin Poirier in the first round. It's like, and a guy that's that explosive, throwing all that shit at, like, guys, you have to be scared. Like, going into that fight, you're like, I'm going to get hurt. Even if I win, I'm going to get hurt.
I've been talking about this a lot with my athletes the last couple months. having conversations with yourself. Because a fighter by himself in an empty room, empty locker room, empty gym, whatever, is a dangerous person, because
For sure.
that person is giving themselves a little bit of self-doubt. Well, shit, like this guy's got really good jiu-jitsu. What if he takes my back? Or this guy's got heavy hands. When a fighter's in a locker room and he's got his, his coaches with them and some teammates with them, they're not giving him doubt. They're telling him, like, let's go. Like, you're looking good. You're looking crisp. Remember who you train with. Like, you're in shape, this and that. And you have to have those conversations with yourself, to really make it to the next level. Like, if you're fighting a guy that has really, really, like, if you're fighting Gaethje,
yeah,
instead of just backpedaling and trying to stay away from him, you got to come forward.
Yeah,
you got to. This is gonna suck.
Yeah,
I may not be able to walk tomorrow and the day after that and the day after that. But if I want to give myself the best chance to win, this is what I have to do.
Mm-hmm.
So having those conversations with yourself, you'd rather go into the fire knowing you're going to do it beforehand rather than somebody throwing you in there, without your permission or without you knowing, and then you're really screwed,
Yeah.
So that's the most impressive thing about watching Michael Chandler fight is, by watching the way he fights, he has that conversation with himself.
Yep.
I'm going to go right in this dude's. I'm attacking this dude from the jump, and he might get me. He might get me with the counter hook. He might teep me to the body. He might low kick me. It's going to suck. It's going to hurt. He might almost put me out. But I know if I keep going, this is my best chance to win. Mm-hmm. So that's, to me, as a coach, that's like the most impressive thing about watching a guy like that. It's like he has that conversation with himself.
Yeah.
He has it. And
100%.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely. Like it's going to suck, but I got to do it.
Yep.
I got to do it. So
yeah, he let me see, actually, the exact text that he sent me before the fight. And he was like, save this text. I was like, oh, so he said, like, I mean, it's nothing. It's just exactly what you're saying. He said, he fully healthy. He said, I'm going to put him away and then light the mic on fire. Save this text. He's the man, dude. He's such a good dude, man. And like, if you were him right this second, what would you do? Would you go to 70? Would you 55? Just take another fight at 55?
I think I'd stay at 55. I think because he's competing. That's the thing. He's competing. He's still up there. It's not like he's getting dusted or small, and he's beating guys at 55. So as long as the weight cut's not really, taken away from his performances, and every fight's exciting. So it's not So I think he should stay at 55. And the thing is like, if you look at everybody who he's fought, it's kind of murderer's row.
Fucking for sure.
Yeah, it's murderer's row. So I think I'd like to see those guys that have been around a long time, that have fought murderer's row. I'd like for them to take like a couple steps back and be like, you know what? Let me fight. If I do go up a weight class, let me fight somebody that's not necessarily in the same position to me, but a little bit older, not some young hitter, not necessarily challenging for a title. Like, if I'm Chandler, if I want to go up, go fight like Robbie Lawler, because that's going to sell. It's two big names. Is it a winnable fight? Absolutely,
for sure.
It's not like he's going to go and fight, Beneil Dariush or these hitters that are in their prime. Like,
what do you think about that fight? What do you think about that fight if he fought Dariush?
Honestly, man, it's another fight where it looks like a Poirier or a Gaethje fight, and it's like, man, like, save your body a little bit.
Yeah.
Go get a big paycheck without having to give up so much of your body.
Yeah.
Without taking some time, off your body. So, is that a winnable fight for Chandler? Absolutely. Yeah. For sure. Absolutely. And I'm a big Dariush fan. I love Dariush because there's nothing he really does that's bad. It's hard to find a hole in his game. But I would just like because you want to see these guys win.
Yes.
Like it's great to see an exciting fight. But at the end of the day, is like, if you're an exciting, because people, this is another thing that fans don't realize. You can be an exciting fighter all day long, and people, man, I love watching you fight. Love watching you fight. The better thing to hear from people, I love watching you win.
Absolutely.
Because when you lose those exciting fights, you still have that lowest of the low feeling.
Yeah.
You're not thinking, oh, I pleased all these fans. You're going home like, fuck, man. Like, I lost another one.
You lost a fight.
Lost a fight, man. Like, that hurts. It hurts your ego. It hurts your soul. It hurts your heart, you know? And it sucks, man. And you know, this game doesn't last forever, and it's very unforgiving. Yeah. And you kind of gotta scale back a little bit and just, you know, let's go rack up some wins, save my body, and focus on recovery and focus on getting better. And why am I getting myself put in these positions in the first place? And maybe it's a detailed thing, maybe it's a skill thing that I have to work on. So yeah, I think that's what I would like to see him do. But some of these guys are psychopaths, man, and they're like, give me the most exciting guy in the division.
Well, and for him, he wants either Conor or a straight line to the title, you know?
Yeah.
And the thing it's so crazy is if he wins 2 fights in a row, he's getting a title shot for absolute sure. You know what I mean?
Honestly, that path can be the same though.
Yeah. Oh, if Conor comes to 55?
Yeah, that path can be the same. Title Conor. That Conor fight can be the title, can get him to a title fight.
Yeah.
So
they do it, dude. If wow. I don't know if Conor's going to go back to 55 or whatever, but if he did, like hypothetically, if he did, to your point, if Chandler got 1 win, and then they do the Conor versus Chandler fight, and you make it a title eliminator,
right?
And then, I mean,
that's right.
You know,
because Conor's not getting a title shot right off the bat.
He can't. Yeah,
he can't. So why not do Chandler Conor?
Title eliminator, yeah. I think you put Conor in a title eliminator, even if he's at 70, just because, you know, and then, but, you know, they're obviously going to want to give him a winnable fight. Chandler is a winnable fight for him just because it's going to be on the feet primarily. I guess Chandler could take him down. And, you know,
Chandler's a D1 All-American wrestler.
Yeah,
he can take anybody down
for sure. For sure.
There's probably 2 people at 55 that he'd have a hard time taking down in one of them's retired, and you know, and he took Gaethje down, but you know, Gaethje was able to hit a reversal on, you know, so he can take down anybody he wants.
Dude, that like finishing sequence with Poirier when he tried to take his back and didn't stick the hook in and just kind of like slid right over him. It was like
slid right over, right? Yeah.
Dude, oh, dude, what about this? Did you see Dustin's foot?
He got staph.
Jesus.
Yeah, it looks bad. Yeah, man.
That's the worst I've ever seen on an extremity, dude. I've never seen it that bad before.
You know, Krause had staph on his shin once. That was pretty bad.
Did it look like that?
It was pretty bad. Yeah, it was pretty bad.
Jeez, man.
But yeah, it's tough, man. It looked disgusting. Yeah.
What does the recovery on that look like?
Obviously, you know, they got to go in and clean it out and make sure the swelling goes down. And a lot of it is just like reinfection, you know, making sure it's not getting reinfected. So, it could take months before he's fully recovered and back training on it, you know, because the last thing you want to do is not have it closed up all the way, hurry up back to training. You're sweating. People are freaking, you know, rubbing up against you. And then all of a sudden it's dirty again. It gets infected again. So a lot of it's just it's a timing thing. You just got to wait it out. You got to, you know, take your antibiotics. You got to, you know, you got to baby it.
Yeah. So, looks gnarly, dude.
Yeah.
So, last thing on the Krause thing is, so when the Minner fight happened, and you know, because the thing that's so crazy about it was everyone was talking about the line moving right before, which is there's no way Minner could have known that, you know, but like it was like because I was in a group chat and I can't remember, I was talking about who I was going to bet on, and they were like, I said something and they're all, maybe that's why the line moved so much in the last 2 hours. And then so people were already talking about how, you know, the line moved so much and then closed it out. And so, you know, then you're watching and then, you know, he throws a kick with his hurt leg and then throws another. That was, I mean, of all the things that, you know, allegedly give it away.
Right.
That was it for me, where it was like, throws a kick and then he clearly was actually hurt. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's like, and then he gets up and throws the next is another kick with the same leg. I was like,
yeah,
bro, dude.
right.
Like,
Yeah. That
who
was
would do that? Who would throw a strike with that leg right after?
Yeah. And it sucks because there are fighters that go into fights and he's legitimately hurt. You know, he had surgery.
For sure.
And there's a lot of fights where fighters go into competition and they got bumps, bruises, or injuries that need tended to. And it just all looks bad, you know, like the lines jumping, the way the fight happened, you know, and he allegedly tipped off, you know, that his leg was hurt and then he kicked with that leg. And it's just like, just all looks bad, you know, and that's the unfortunate part. It's like, man, you're trying to find something, you know, outside of I know his character and he's a good guy. He wouldn't do that. You're trying to find concrete evidence where it's like Krause wouldn't do this because of this concrete evidence. And it's hard to find any because people are throwing this at him. The line jumping, the knee, this, and, you know, he's got a Discord talking about betting on fight. You know, it's like,
it couldn't be a worse, like of every coach in the UFC, he's the worst one to try to talk his way around the coincidences,
right?
Because they've been so open with Discord and everything.
Right. Yeah. So that's why, man, it's just like, you know, Tony Dungy, old coach. He's got a thing he tells his guys. He's it's the rule of one. You know, one piece of jewelry, one house, one, you know, toy, whether it's a razor or whatever, one vacation a year, one wife, and nothing good happens after one.
That's so true, dude.
Right? So it's like,
get yourself a fancy house, but just one.
Just one. That's it, man. You know, so like with that situation, it's like, it's tough because it's like, you know, greed's evil.
Yes.
You know, it's like you have this Discord, you have this, and like, keep it to one thing, keep it to coaching, you know, and it obviously, you know, if it's making you money, like everyone has the right to do anything they want. It doesn't mean what they do is right.
Yeah.
You know, so
and that's like, if all he's doing is just handicapping fights because he knows the game so well, which I guarantee is
right,
you know, what he was doing primarily,
yeah,
then it is what it is. But like, you know, I wouldn't have a problem with a coach betting on their own guy.
Yeah.
Like that, I wouldn't have any issue with that.
Right.
As long as, you know, you didn't know anything else. But like, yeah, I mean, I don't know. The other thing too is, I mean, I heard all this other stuff. I mean, it's too late now because I put it in the other video, but like, two different people told me that there was some kind of like, I don't know, like that he was running the book and that there were other people, something like that, like that made it like that there's more than just him, like, you know, picking the fights. And the reason why I didn't have any issue putting it on the channel is because I'm like, dude, the feds already have his computer. If it's true, I mean, you know what I mean? Like
like you can erase whatever you want or take down your channel. Like FBI can get anything. There's ways to backtrack. Like once you get the FBI involved, you're done. You know, you're screwed. Like there's no getting away from it.
Yeah.
You know? So that's the unfortunate part. And for him, and for multiple reasons. One, I hate people using the word fixed fights. So I hope that none of this is true, because if it is true, then these stupid ass fans, you see, there are fixed fights. You know, I hate it. But more importantly, I like James, and I would hate to see, a good father and a good coach be taken away. Get these great things he's got going for him taken away in his life, and it's unfortunate, man.
Yeah, it makes me not happy. Like,
yeah,
I just feel like I need to say that like again because I did the video and I'm like, I am not only not rooting for that to happen, I am rooting in the opposite direction. Like I hope everything that I heard is wrong. I hope that he gets exonerated. I hope that he gets to go back to coaching.
And what sucks about this too is, like, you know, if he is exonerated and he moves on, he's able to coach. it's kind of like Barry Bonds. It's like, some of these other guys, like there's always going to be that asterisk next to their name, everything they do. And it's like, it is what it is, I guess, at that point, like it's not like someone specifically, like one person is accusing him of this and taking him to court and he's able to, it's just, it's sad.
Yeah.
It's sad,
but it's better than the alternative. Like for right now,
yeah,
it'd be better than the alternative. But
yeah.
But yeah, I mean, dude, and if I was just like not talking about this one specifically, I am actually. I'm just trying to think of like how that probably actually played out. Where it's like, like in terms of like all the money coming in, on those bets, it's like, I don't know. I mean, like, because it's not like someone would feed that information to like their entire Discord. You'd feed it to like one whale, or like maybe two whales. And then, but to your point, greed. Like if it's a lock, it's like, dude,
right? You
can't put $3 million, $4 million on this, dude. Like there's not gonna be action like that on a fight like this.
On a prelim fight night.
Exactly.
Like this isn't Drake putting $1 million on Nate Diaz.
Yeah.
Exactly. So, but greed gets the best of people, it really does.
What do you know what happens with bets? Like if, so like let's say I'm some like anonymous guy.
Yeah.
That there's, oh wait, never mind that. Well, whatever. If I make the bet, and I win, but it turns out that the guy went in injured, like, do they pay that out, do you think, or no?
I don't know. I was wondering that too, if like, or maybe like, I think what probably happened was people that bet on that fight that won, they probably cashed out right away if they went to an actual sports book. If they did it online, maybe it was like red flag, don't pay this out yet until it all kind of unravels. So I guess I'm not sure how that happened. I actually was thinking of that, was like, I wonder if these people that bet, if they got paid out for it, I'm sure it changes on what platform they use.
Yeah.
Because if you went to a sports book and you bet that fight, if you went right away the same day to cash out, you're probably getting paid out.
Yeah. Because it's not like the house can just be like, they're all, we have questions about that fight. Here's your money back,
Yeah, exactly. Right.
Like, yeah.
No, it's not happening. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, I hope it works. I mean, I hope it works out for him.
Yeah. What a crazy deal, man. Like, and it's just, it's more so that, he just won his first world title with Brandon Moreno.
I know.
And he's got some great fighters, coming through the pipeline, and he's getting a lot of pub, and he's got his own show with the UFC, and it's rightfully deserving. He's an OG that's been doing it a long time.
Wait, he had his own show?
Yeah, he was doing some like technique show with somebody else on Fight Pass or something like that. Awesome. Like a UFC detailed show, But like a few years ago, he took that Trevin Giles fight on 24 hours notice, and people was like, "Man, Krause is is an OG." It's like, it's not surprising, because he's a Midwest OG. That's what we do here. I don't know how many fighters I've had. Hey man, we got a spot open on this card. It's 24, 36 hours out. Like, we're gonna take it. That's just what we do. So what a crazy last month with this, So it's wild.
Yeah, we'll see. So are you is Anthony, are you guys training that? Because you guys have a fight?
Yeah, March 11th in Vegas. We've been
I'm
training.
going to that one.
Yeah, you'll be there. Yeah.
So because it's the first US fight of that's going to be in the United States in 2023. Because the first two are London, in Perth, Australia, and in Brazil.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Oh, yeah, because London's the week after. That's right. They just announced that March 18th.
Oh yeah, London.
Are they not doing any? Are they not doing any fight nights before that?
No, they're doing fight nights. It's the first numbered event in the United States.
Oh, okay. All right.
Yeah, so like 283 is in Brazil, 284 is in Australia, and then 285 is you guys.
Okay. Yeah.
Right? Or is your guys' a fight night?
I think ours is a fight night.
Oh,
I think ours is a fight night. Yeah. I'm pretty sure it is.
Maybe I'll go to that. Is it at the Apex or is it
I'm not sure. I'm not sure what their plans are for it. So
how do you like that matchup?
I like it. I mean, this is the thing, man. Like Anthony, there's nothing that someone's going to throw at Anthony that he's never seen before.
For sure.
You got heavy hands. Well, so did the last 5 people we fought. You got good jiu-jitsu. Well, so was the last couple. You know, you got good wrestling. Well, so did Devin Clark. You know, so
yeah,
there's nothing that he's gonna do that's gonna that has us, you know, shook or worried. Like we just gotta, like we do everybody. We strip the face and he presents these problems, and this is how we're gonna approach it. So and at this level, it's like we're excited for any matchup. You know, we're excited for any matchup we get because, you know, when you're top 5 in the world, you're not fighting unranked guys or you know, guys that you're bound better than. So and he's a guy that we respect too. Like the way he's been able to run through the division and earn his spot, and he's done it the right way. These guys make call outs that make no sense. And Johnny Walker's kind of one of them. Like he just calls it out because I think he thinks it sounds good in his head. But at the end of the day, you fought nobody, man. You've beaten nobody good. Like go sit down. Jamal isn't like that. He's been like, I'll fight whoever. And he's been winning these fights. And at the same time, he doesn't disregard what the guys at the top of the division have done to get there because he knows that they've done the same thing. So we have a lot of respect for Jamal. He's managed by Brian Butler. We have a really good relationship with Butler. And I posted this fight on my Facebook on Thanksgiving, and his manager sent me a message right away with like the crying emoji, and was like, man, you know, I love you guys, and you know, this sucks, and blah blah. And I was like, hey man, it's all competition. Like, you know, tell Jamal good luck. You know, hope he goes through a training camp safe and uninjured. But Jamal's done everything right as far as talking on the mic, not overshooting overshooting, you know, where he's at. And he knocked out Johnny Walker. He put away Thiago Santos. You know, he's here now. He's earned a shot. So
for sure,
he's the guy that we respect, and we're super excited about this matchup because we don't got to worry about all the noise. We don't got to worry about, you know, like Ryan Spann getting on, you know, these interviews and, you know, just talking crap, and it's like it's unwarranted. You know, Jamal's not like that. Jamal's a good guy. He's a hell of a fighter. You know, he poses a lot of, you know, different, unique threats. And as a coach, I'm excited to you know, use my brain, you know, and all the other coaches involved in this, and come together with a good game plan for Anthony to go out and execute.
I like it, dude.
Yep.
Yeah, Jamal seems like a really good dude. I was really like at 274. We were at the same hotel, and I was like right next. He's another guy that you're like, that's a big boy.
That's a big dude. Yeah, because you see him on TV, and he doesn't. You know, he's one of those guys that don't look physically imposing. You know, he doesn't look like Thiago Santos or, you know, those guys at 205. You're like, holy shit, like Tyson Pedro. These guys are huge. You know. Yeah. But then you stand next to him, and you're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
Like Gus, I remember Gustafsson was like that. Like you look at Gus, he looks like a regular dude, and then you stand next to him. After Anthony fought him in Sweden, I talked to him after the fight for like 30 minutes, and I just was looking at his thighs, and I was like, this guy probably thinks I'm a weirdo, but he's built like a NFL defensive end.
He's built like a Viking that is going to storm your fucking your village and burn it to the ground.
Big dude. Yeah, he's a big dude. And people, hey, say what you want about John, about him having like skinny calves and stuff, but his hips, you know, he's got big hips, big butt, big back. You know, like he's got
the stable core of the
exactly. Yeah. So. I'm sure Jamal's like that too, and just a little bit more. It just doesn't look the part, but just the way he's been able to scramble you know, the way he's been able to physically, you know, impose his will on people, I'm sure he's a very strong individuul. So,
dude, how about getting disjointed by Paul Craig and then just looking at the ref like, oh, he disjointed me. Like, I guess like,
did I lose?
Yeah.
You know, like,
oh, is this a problem?
Yeah.
You know?
Can I go on, or am I
I
good?
was like, holy shit.
He's a dog, man. He's a dog.
Yeah.
He's a dog. And that's what I love about this matchup. It's like he's a dog. So, you know, it brings that, you know, because as a coach, you watch film and you're like, this guy breaks at this point. You know, he'll break. But this guy, you're like, you can get him deep in a submission, he ain't gonna break. So
yeah.
It's an exciting feeling, you know, when you have this kind of matchup. So, because you know Anthony's the same way.
Yeah.
You know, Anthony's the same exact way. So
and you know, I'm pretty good at like looking at guys and going, like thinking about the, like kind of like this, like you were saying, like a guy who's like, oh, I've lost 2 in a row and now I'm whatever. And like most people, you know, if they went into that fight that you guys had last and then had an injury like this, such a shitty situation, had an injury like that, like I would be concerned about their mental, and I'm 0% concerned about Anthony's mental with that. Dude. Like he's just like that guy is a piece of fucking stone.
He's a dog, man. He's a dog, you know.
He's a dog, so fucking badass.
Right. And you know, it's just the reasons why we fight are maybe a little different than everybody else's. And you know, we look at this, you know, we gotta protect and provide, and he's gonna go out and do that, you know, for his family, his legacy, and for the team, you know. So yeah, we're excited for sure. So
I love it, dude. That's my new thing is in a competition match, I just pretend that my wife and kids are behind me and that this dude's trying to get through me to there.
Right.
It's a good that's the mental game that I play with myself, is like, oh, you want to get over here for these ones? Like, I think I'm going to strangle your face off instead.
Yeah, whatever you got to do to flip that switch, you know, whatever you got to do. And it's funny because, like, remember The Water Boy? The movie The Water Boy?
Yep. Oh, yeah.
It's like it's tackling fuel, you know? Like, it sounds funny.
No,
it's a joke. But there's people that need that. They need that.
Yeah.
I used to coach a fighter named Cody Land. Got close to the UFC once, was fought at 125, 135. Cody was very, like, in practice, wasn't anything special. Used to get just kind of manhandled in practice. But during fights, was a dog. He was able to flip that switch.
Mm-hmm.
He was able to flip that switch where he wanted to hurt people.
Mm-hmm.
And I've talked to him about it. And I said, you know, I was like, what gets you to that point? He goes, honestly, coach, man, he's like, growing up, I used to have to pull my dad out of these bars at like 12, 13 years old. And I'd have grown men try to fight me because my dad would fight with them. And then I was there trying to, you know, and I'd have to pull my dad out of these bars and I'd have to fight grown men at the age of 12, 13. So he's like, when I get into that cage, it flips the switch. Like I'm in this bar and I'm trying to pull my dad out and these grown men are trying to fight me. And I ain't going to let it happen. I ain't going to let him go try to kick my dad's ass outside. And it's just that was his switch.
Yeah.
You know, that's what got him to flip that switch. And it's so unique and everyone's different.
Do you do it with your, I mean, like if you have overwhelming instincts to protect, that's how I do. That's literally what I do. So I'm like,
that's great, man. That's
this
great.
Motherfucker wants to get to my kids.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey, Misha Tate said this in an interview a long time ago. She's like, it's 2 dogs. Who's going to get the bone?
Yep.
Like that's what it is.
Yeah.
You know, 2 dogs in the dark alley. Who's going to get the bone? Like, it's going to be me. It's going to be me. So
it's got to be.
Yep, for sure.
Nice, brother. Well, we did an hour. That's a good show.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. This is great. So did you have anything you want to tell the viewers?
Yeah, we got a lot of good fights and stuff coming up. I got a kid that fights for bare knuckle. He's 3-0 in bare knuckle. He's one of the very few people I would let fight bare knuckle because it's such a unique niche and sport, and you got to be built for it. He actually just signed with Vayner Sports. His name is Carlos Trinidad Snake, and the rankings just got released today. He's 5th in the world. He's 3-0. So he just, like I said, just signed with Vayner Sports.
Carlos Trinidad
Snake. Yep. Trinidad Snake. Yep. He's half Mexican, half native. So he's a very unique, very marketable individual. He's a dog, man. He's a dog, and bare knuckle is he's built for it. So got him. We got Jordan Heiderman that just won on LFA. Jordan was on the Ultimate Fighter and won a fight on the Ultimate Fighter, and he won his last. He was a co-main event for LFA event a couple months ago, and we're just waiting to hear from the UFC for him. Nice. I got Haji Bustayev on Bellator. I got Blaine. I got Dylan. I got Maya. I got a lot of guys coming up right now in the first quarter of 2023 with fights. I got this, as amateur Maya. He's 6-0 as an amateur. He fought on Bellator as an amateur, actually, and looking to turn him pro. So got a lot of good things going on at the gym, a lot of exciting things, and I'm so proud of my support, of my assistant coaches, Coach Jonah, Coach Scott, Coach Marco, everybody involved, because it really it takes a village, to make it at a high level. So I'm very, very blessed to be here today with all these great things I have going on with the gym. So just want to give a shout out to them and all our sponsors. So yeah, man, that's pretty much it. Just training, nice. Just try not to make any crazy noise and the outside life, and just really honing in on getting these guys prepared as much as possible.
What's the name of the gym one more time?
Skywalker 101 Boxing Academy. Yep, we're in Omaha, Nebraska.
101 in Omaha, Nebraska.
Yep.
I love it, dude. Yep. And if anybody who's looking for a jiu-jitsu school in Austin, 6 Blades, son. You could do 6 Blades headquarters, or you can train with me every single day in Lake Travis.
Right.
You don't need to speculate about whether I'll be there or not. If you go to the night class, either of the night classes, I'll be at both 100% of the time.
And it's funny because I saw you were at that tournament, and like I said, my old drill sergeant from the fire academy when I was an Army firefighter, she was there with her family, and her girls were competing, and I think her husband was competing. They actually came to visit me earlier in the year, so I got to get you guys connected because she was in the service, he was in the service. He's a fireman in somewhere in Texas, I think. But their kids, they have twin daughters, and they have a little boy, and the whole family does jiu-jitsu. So I got to get you guys connected. But shout out to the Birdsong family because they're a great family, and it was so cool to see. Like, that's what's cool. Like I said about the jiu-jitsu community, I was like, oh shit, like Jesse's at the Waco Invitational, and so are they. Like, I wonder if their kids are going to compete. So that's why I reached out to you.
How old are their kids?
I don't even know. I think their daughters are maybe like 10, 11 years old.
Yeah, Giselle is 10. She was at light featherweight. She got second.
Okay. Yeah, nice. Yeah. Awesome.
The girl that beat her, dude, they're like, some of these kids are so good at jiu-jitsu, man. When they're like, they're young.
The next level, man.
Yeah.
The next level. I'm telling you, it's I see it at local tournaments, at local fights, and even like, I get these young kids that played college sports that come, that, I got a national champion wrestler that came to train last week, and just watching him move, and I'm just like, man, like, there's always going to be that next level. There's always going to be that next wave, and it's exciting. It's exciting. So
good stuff, my man. I will let you get back to it because I actually need to go to Jits right now.
My man, sounds good.
All right, Danny.
All right, man. Take care.
Later.